Every afternoon, people lined up under the hot sun just to taste her food. They laughed, they chatted, and their plates were always empty in minutes. But none of them knew the secret hidden in her hands. And that secret began long ago. There once lived a beautiful pregnant woman named Neka. Her laughter used to fill the little compound where she lived with her husband, Okoro. Every evening, he would sit by the doorway, cleaning his motorcycle, while Neka cooked yam porridge and hummed softly. But one day, everything changed. That afternoon, the chief's messenger came running. "Neka! Neka!" he shouted, his voice shaking. "Your husband is gone." She dropped the water pot she carried. It shattered on the red earth. "He crashed his motorcycle on his way to bring medicine for you." Her scream tore through the village like a broken drum. She fell on the ground, wailing. That night, the pain came. Thunder rumbled far away. The midwife wiped sweat from her forehead. "Push Neka," she said. And at last, a tiny cry filled the room. A baby girl, small and soft as new yam. Neka held her close, tears mixing with the baby's first cries. "We shall call her Peace," she whispered. "Maybe she will bring peace to my heart." Little Peace grew up never knowing her father's voice or arms. When she was 5, she would sit by the doorway, tracing her mother's face with her fingers. Every morning, Mama Peace set up a little cooking spot under the big mango tree. A single pot, a small wooden table, and 3 rough wooden benches, that was all they had. "This is our buka," she told Peace. "From here, we will survive." And they survived with grace, hope, and hard work. Mama Peace cooked with her whole heart. Peace, on the other hand, served customers with a bright smile that could soften the angriest person. Years passed. Peace grew into a beautiful girl, brown-skinned, round-faced. One hot afternoon, the pot of stew on the fire was almost ready. Customers started gathering slowly, their plates clinking in anticipation. Mama Peace looked pale. Her hands trembled as she held the spoon. Suddenly she collapsed right there, between the firewood and the steaming pot of stew. People screamed. They ran forward, pouring water on her face, shaking her shoulder. Mama Peace was gone. The next morning, they carried her in a simple coffin to the village cemetery. Birds cried in the mango trees. Peace sat beside the grave. Her little heart felt like it had been broken into tiny pieces. She didn't know what she would do without her mother. That night, she lay beside her mother's grave and cried. During the day, she swept people's compounds, washed clothes for old women with trembling hands, and ran errands to earn a little money. One night, heavy rain fell. Thunder rolled across the sky, shaking the trees. Peace knelt by the grave, soaked and shivering. Her stomach growled. She had not eaten all day. Her tears mixed with the rain. "Mama, I miss your food," she sobbed. "I miss you." Then, suddenly, the rain stopped. A white bird appeared, shining faintly in the moonlight. It landed gently on the edge of her mother's grave and looked at her with bright, knowing eyes. Peace's heart beat fast. The bird dropped 2 things into her hands. A small, smooth black stone and a tiny folded note. She held the stone first. It felt warm and alive, almost like it had a heartbeat of its own. Then she opened the note. In careful, shining letters were the words, "Never stop cooking." She stared at the stone and the note. She didn't understand how or why, but something deep inside her knew. This was her mother's love sent back to her. One hot afternoon, Peace was walking back from the village borehole. Suddenly, she heard a horn. A shiny black car had stopped on the road. A young man inside rolled down the window and came down. "Hello," he said gently. "Please, I'm looking for Teacher Anthonia's house. Do you know it?" "Yes, sir, I go there sometimes to help her cook," she said, her voice trembling just a little. The man smiled again. "Thank you. My name is Emeka. She's my auntie." Peace just nodded and pointed down the road. "Can you show me?" he asked politely. Peace didn't answer. She just turned and started walking. Teacher Anthonia's house was small but pretty. Flowers bloomed in pots along the walkway. She was the headmistress of the primary school. "Emeka, my son," she shouted, her arms wide. She ran and hugged him tightly. "You've grown into a big man. Come in, come in." That night, Peace helped Teacher Anthonia cook egusi soup for Emeka. She stirred the pot carefully, adding a pinch of salt, a little palm oil, and a secret touch her mother had taught her long ago. When Emeka ate the soup, he closed his eyes and smiled. This tastes like home," he said softly. Emeka stayed for 3 days. Each day, he ate her cooking with a smile. On the third night, after everyone had eaten, he spoke. "Auntie," he said, looking at Teacher Dorcas, "I need a girl who can cook real Igbo soups, ofe nsala, oha soup, ofo nugbu, someone who knows the taste of home." Teacher Dorcas didn't think twice. "Peace," she called, clapping her hands. "That girl is respectful, clean, and can cook like her late mother. She's the one you need." Emeka nodded slowly. His eyes lit up like the sun breaking through dark clouds. 2 days later, Peace packed her bag. Her hands trembled as she carefully placed the shiny black stone inside, the one the strange bird had given her at the grave. It felt heavy in her palm, full of secrets, full of power. She was going to Abuja. Her first time leaving the village. As the bus moved slowly along the dusty road, Peace pressed her face to the window. The trees waved goodbye with their leaves, swaying gently in the wind. Her stomach fluttered with excitement and fear. She did not know what awaited her. Her eyes widened and mouth fell open. A huge gate, a tall fence, and shiny floors that reflected the sunlight. A TV as wide as her mother's buka table blinked with colors and sounds she had never seen before. "This is like a palace," she whispered to herself. A woman came down the stairs, smiling warmly. "Welcome," she said softly. "I'm Amina, Emeka's wife." "You'll stay in the boys' quarters," Amina said, smiling. "You'll be like family here." Peace nodded. She wanted to cry, but she held it in. The next morning, Peace dressed neatly in her Ankara dress. Her little hands smoothed the fabric as she stared in the mirror. She took the bus to Emeka's restaurant in Maitama. It was big, bright, and sparkling clean. The sales girls and boys wore neat uniforms. But when she stepped into the kitchen, Peace remembered her mother's lessons. She made oha soup, jollof rice, and bitter leaf soup. And soon, people began to notice. One man licked his fingers and smiled. Another said softly, "This soup tastes like my grandma's." Even the other girls in the kitchen whispered behind her back. "Who is this village girl? Her soup smells like magic. Maybe she's using something unusual." Peace heard them all. She did not answer. She just smiled. She stirred the pot slowly, letting the flavors come alive, one by one. Emeka began to notice something. Since she came, more people are coming every day. They are asking only for her soups. One day, a woman walked into the restaurant holding her baby. She sat down, looking tired, her eyes red from crying. She ordered afang soup. After her first bite, her hands trembled. Tears streamed down her face. A waitress asked gently, "Why are you crying?" The woman held her chest, shaking. "This soup tastes like my mother's," she said softly. "She passed away 5 days ago." Peace stood there quietly. Her heart swelled. She smiled softly, remembering her mother. Somehow, her mother's hands were still guiding hers. At home, Amina started watching Peace more closely. She watched the way Emeka's eyes lit up whenever he talked about Peace's food. She noticed the restaurant stayed open late now because of the crowds. One quiet night, she asked Emeka, "Who is this village girl? She's just a cook, right? Emeka smiled softly. She's gifted, my love. That girl cooks with her soul. Amina blinked. Something didn't feel right in her chest. Gifted, you say? She whispered. Or, is she using something? The restaurant became so busy because of her cooking. People came early in the morning just to buy her jollof rice. Some waited until evening just to taste her egusi soup. Even rich men from the National Assembly came during lunch break just to eat Peace's food. Wherever she went in the restaurant, people whispered, "That's the girl who cooks the sweet soup. See how she smiles all the time. She's not just beautiful, she's blessed." Peace worked hard, but she also had a secret plan. Every time she got her small salary, she hid a little money in a saving box under her bed. She whispered to herself, "I will go back to school and become great." Amina, Emeka's wife, loved Peace like a daughter. She gave her old clothes. Even Musa, the gate man, liked her. Every morning, when she passed the gate, he would smile and say, "Peace the superstar. Don't forget me when you become rich." But not everyone was happy. The other sales girls were watching her smile while serving, watched the customers praising her. They were jealous. That Friday morning, Peace had cooked a large pot of goat meat pepper soup. The aroma filled the whole restaurant. Peace stepped outside to make a call. One of the girls sneaked in and poured a whole bowl of salt into the soup. When she returned, the soup was covered, just the way she left it. Or so she thought. When customers began to eat, it was terrible. "Why is this pepper soup so salty? Is this a joke? My mouth is burning." Some spat out the food. Others shouted. The manager ran to the kitchen, tasted the soup, and shouted, "Who cooked this nonsense?" Peace froze. I cooked it, but I don't know." Emeka arrived and looked disappointed. "This is not like you," he said slowly. "Be careful next time." Peace nodded slowly. Her heart was pounding. 2 months later, the same thing happened again. One of the girls sneaked into the kitchen and poured too much potash into the stew. By evening, customers began to complain. "My belly is hurting. Where's the toilet? What did you put in this food?" One man came back red in the face. "I missed my meeting because of your food." Emeka was furious. So was Amina. That night, Emeka shouted at Peace, "If this happens again, you're gone." Peace ran into her room and cried all night. The girls didn't stop. They whispered lies into Emeka's ears. "Sir, we think Peace wants to destroy your restaurant. Maybe she wants to open her own place and take your customers. She keeps to herself, very suspicious." Peace could feel that something was wrong. She could feel it in the way Emeka looked at her. She could feel it in the way Amina no longer smiled as much. She began walking with her head down. Her smile stopped. Her eyes stayed red from crying. At night, Peace would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, whispering softly into the darkness. "Mama, can you see me? I'm trying, I promise, I'm trying." Then one day, it happened. Someone stole a huge amount of money from the restaurant office. The whole place went into panic. Then one of the girls shouted, "Check Peace. She's been acting strange since morning." Another added, "She has been hiding money in her bag." The manager rushed to her bag. They opened it and found a bundle of money. Emeka's face turned dark. "You stole from me? After everything I did for you?" Peace dropped to her knees, crying. "Sir, I swear on my mother's grave I didn't take that money." But Emeka shouted, "Get out of my restaurant. Pack your things. I don't want to ever see you again." She walked home slowly, packing her few belongings. Peace stepped out of the big gate for the last time. Her tears mixed with the rain, but she didn't stop walking. She found a tiny room, a face me I face you, in a crowded area of Abuja. The roof leaked. The walls were cracked. It was all she could afford. 1 week later, she woke up early. She used her small savings to cook a big pot of jollof rice. She packed the rice into flasks on a wheelbarrow and began hawking it in Abuja Market. And when they tasted her food, "Ah, this is delicious. Where have you been hiding? You will go far, my dear." Little by little, Peace made more money. She bought more pots and coolers. Soon, people started waiting for her to come. Her customers called her Peace the Igbo girl. Other women selling food became jealous. They whispered, "Is she using juju? Or is her hand just sweet like sugar?" Peace just smiled. But her eyes held a quiet fire. 2 years passed. She no longer hawked food under the hot sun. She now had her own buka in a big yard in Abuja Market, where many other food sellers stayed. She gave it a sweet tribal name, Ndi Igbo Buka. Every morning, she came in early. She cleaned her space. She arranged her pots in a row, lit her stove, and began to cook. And when customers came, she welcomed them with a smile that could melt a stone. "Good morning, sir." "You're welcome, auntie. Try our afang soup today." Soon, a long line formed in front of her shop. People waited just to eat her food. Her soup tastes like home. "I dreamt of her jollof rice yesterday." That girl, her hand is blessed. But not everyone was happy. The other women in the food yard were losing customers. Even Mama Ibrahim, who had sold rice for 10 years, had no queue anymore. She must be using juju to trap her customers. "She's Ndi Igbo, and you know those people are diabolic." They both nodded slowly. Then strange things started happening. One morning, Peace came to her buka and found a calabash placed inside her shop. It had red cloth, feathers, and black powder inside. The next day, as she was going to grind red pepper jollof rice, a woman poured dirty water on her. The smell was horrible. But Peace held her head high. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She wiped her slippers and kept walking. Even with all the stress, Peace didn't stop dreaming. At night, after closing her buka, she would rush to a small satellite campus not far from Kubwa. She was now studying hospitality and catering. She wanted to be more than a cook. She wanted to run big restaurants. One sunny afternoon, Peace walked into a jewelry shop in Abuja Market. The sign above read, "Rambo Gold and Jewels." She came to buy a small pair of earrings to compensate herself for working hard. Gold chains and bangles glittered behind glass counters. Just then, a tall man in a crisp white senator walked in, Alhaji Rambo, the owner of the shop. His dark skin glowed under the lights, his soft beards neatly trimmed. When Peace greeted softly, "Good afternoon, sir," he looked up, and their eyes met. In that quiet moment, surrounded by gold, it was love at first sight. Rambo came every day to her buka. Sometimes he ate twice a day, even if he wasn't hungry. He helped her carry her pots or wash the spoons when she was tired. On Saturdays, they took walks near Jabi Lake. On Sundays, they shared a plate of jollof rice and laughed like children in Rambo's house. One warm evening, after the last customer had left, Rambo knelt before Peace, holding a small, sparkling ring in his hand. "Peace, will you marry me?" he asked, his eyes shining with hope. Peace covered her mouth in shock, tears welling in her eyes. After a moment, she nodded, whispering, "Yes, yes, I will." The glow from the jewelry reflected around them, making the moment feel magical. They got married at a small registry in Maitama. Back in Abuja Market, people still whispered about Peace. How did she make it? What magic is she using? But they didn't know. They didn't know she cooked to survive. They didn't know her late mother taught her every recipe by firelight. They didn't know she cried many nights alone. They didn't know she studied with candles after work. They didn't know how hard she worked. One evening, Peace stood in front of her buka. She looked at the setting sun. She whispered to herself, "Truly, I survived everything life threw at me." She smiled, a real smile. Today, she had her husband. She had her customers. She had peace. And soon, they opened a big restaurant together in the heart of Abuja. The sign above it said, "Peace Delight, where every spoon tells a story." And this was her story.